good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the first Thursday evening training call for 2025. And I just want to first of all say Happy New Year to everybody, and hope you guys have the most amazing, prosperous 2025 ever. Feel like a shift is definitely happening in 2025. We started 2025 with a bang. It's the first January going into week one. It just felt like we were already halfway through the year. And this is very, very encouraging to see how busy the groups have been and how engaged everybody has been. So it's a very exciting next phase of LifeWave that globally we're moving into. So I just want to say welcome to everybody for Thursday, the 23rd of January, 2025. And tonight, it's myself, Chris, dialing in from Johannesburg, South Africa. Those of you that don't know me, anybody that's new on the call, I've been part of LifeWave for just over 2 years. And all thank you to George Kedourie, who's the person who shared LifeWave with me in October 2022. I was on a Zoom call. George saw me on the Zoom call. I didn't look very healthy. He sent me a message, told me I've got something that can help you. It went completely over my head. And he sent me another message, and he sent me another message. George sent me 21 messages, guys. Talk about persistence, where people say, I sent 2 messages to people and they haven't got back to me. Well, that's part of the following up and having a bit of persistence. And, George didn't send me 21 messages in 2 days. George sent me 21 messages over a 6-week period. He was just sending bits of info. Eventually, George got my attention, and I was like, hang on a second here. The moment George also mentioned the word frequency, my ears did this, and I said, whoa, hang on a second. We're talking about frequency. This makes sense. And, long story short, I took the leap of faith, and I signed up on the 22nd of November, 2022. 2 days later, this little miracle envelope landed at my front door. I could not wait to open this. I opened it up, and inside this little envelope, inside here, with 30 of these little stickers. And I thought, this looks cute. This looks interesting. Let me give this a try. Next morning, I woke up, put the patch on the back of my neck, and all I can say is 5 days later, my life completely turned around. LifeWave gave me my life back. Patched my mom. She got an amazing result. After that happened, I just said to Lucinda, I said, this is it. This is it. And the rest is history. And here we are 2 years and a bit later, with the most amazing community that we've put together. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, George, for sharing LifeWave with me when I was in a very low place in my life. I was in a very low place. You knew I was in a low place, but you still were consistent in sharing the information with me. And you did it in a very soft and kind manner. You weren't aggressive with me. And I appreciate that. And I want to say thank you. And I just want to say it's an honor to know you and to be working together with you, and the friendship that we've developed. And I'm looking forward to many, many, many years going forward on this incredible journey. And here we are, 23rd of January, 2025. And we're 2 years into LifeWave. And guys, we haven't even started yet. I would say the last 2 years, all we've been doing is warming up. The engines haven't even warmed up yet. We've just been putting all of our systems and processes in place. And, I met George at the convention in Tampa the year before last. And then I met George again when we were in the UK. And then we met again when we were in the USA, and then George came down to South Africa, and I'm going to be seeing George in about 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks time in the UK. So absolutely cannot wait. And so what we're going to be talking about tonight is having fun, but being dead serious at the same time. So yes, having fun, but the dead serious part is what we have in our hands right now. What we have in our hands right now is something that can potentially save people's lives, and also can completely transform people's lives from two aspects: their health and their wealth. Sure some of you have heard me say this before. Some of the new people on the call tonight, I want you to visualize in your mind when you write down the word health and you write down the word wealth. Health and wealth. They look the same, they sound the same. It's only the H and the W that is different. And that's what we're going to talk about, of what we have in our hands right now, what we can share with people. So somebody, before I hand over to George, somebody just asked me, here we go, Corin asked me, what does E, S, B, and R stand for behind me? Here we go. ESBR. I'm glad you actually noticed that. I've had a few people asking me about it. If you Google Robert Kiyosaki cash flow quadrant, that's what it is. Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant. So anybody that doesn't know who Robert Kiyosaki is, he wrote a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It was #1 bestseller, and then he created a book called Cash Flow Quadrant. And what E stands for is employee. Employee. That means when you're working for somebody, so you're working for a boss, and what happens is you're trading time for money. You're trading time for money. So as an employee, that means that you get a salary at the end of the month, but you have to report for work. So you've got to be at work at 8 o'clock. You can have a tea break, and then you can have a lunch break. You can have another tea break, and then you can go home at 5 o'clock. And you do that 5 times during the week, and then you times that by 4. You do that, and then you get paid for the services that you render for the company that you work for. Now, if you decide that you don't want to go to work for the month, you don't put a sick note in, you just decide, I don't feel like going to work for the month, you're not going to get paid. You're not going to earn money. So what happens is you're trading time for money. So if you're not actively there, you're not going to earn money. And then you get to the point where you get frustrated and you fire your boss. And then you decide you want to start your own business. You move to S. S means self-employed. Self-employed. So now I've been on both sides of the cash flow quadrant. So that's the left-hand side, employee and self-employed. With self-employed, you're still trading your time for money. Take yourself out the equation, the money stops, right? Now, what we want to do is we want to move.
That's where self-employed is when you're working 100 hours a week instead of a 40 hour.
Exactly. And you are your toughest you are your toughest boss. And also you think to yourself, oh well, I'm going to work for myself, so I can take time off whenever I want to. That's everybody's dream. Everybody wants time freedom, correct? So with time freedom also comes discipline, self-discipline. So you think to yourself, I'm just going to take time out. The moment you take time out, the income stops. That's when you're self-employed, right? So that's the left-hand side of the cash flow quadrant. What we want to do is we want to move over to the right-hand side of the cash flow quadrant. B stands for business owner. Business owner. Now, business owner means that you have got a structure that is paying you whether you are actively there or not. And this is normally, if you read in the book, if you own a company, if you've got 500 or more employees, that's when you move to the category of business owner. So that means that you've got people in a structure that is paying you whether you're there or not. So you can walk away from your business for 3 months. You come back and you still have a business because you've put a structure in place. And then R stands for investor. Now, that is when you've made a bit of money and you invest in different places, whether it's property, whether it's the stock market, whether it's commodities, whatever it is, it's starting to make your money work for you. And that's a bit more of a long-term type of approach. Now, to move from the left-hand side to the right-hand side of the cash flow quadrant is very, very scary. Did you know that it's as scary as moving to a different country, changing a religion, changing a political party? It's like that is how scary it is moving over. And it's only because this is where we have been conditioned and programmed from school. Go to school, pass, go to college, get good grades, get a good job, work for 40 years, and you get your pension. You get your pension at the age of 60. By the age of 67, 68, you've run out of money because normally the pensions aren't in line with inflation. And that's why you get a lot of older people coming into the network marketing industry because all of a sudden they've run out of money. And this is where network marketing, this beautiful industry, where David Schmidt made the decision to put LifeWave into a network marketing company, which has been around for 136 years. What happens is the moment you sign up with LifeWave, you automatically have moved over to the right-hand side of the cash flow quadrant. You automatically become a business owner. Now, I don't know, has anybody ever thought of opening a franchise or opening your own business? Have you seen the cost of opening up your own business? It's astronomical. And you've got to pay all this money back. Where you can get involved, you can sign up, register with a core kit for as low as $300, 6,500 Rand, and you have a business in a box. We don't have to worry about anything. We don't have to worry about the packaging, printing of these sleeves, the manufacturing of the patches. We don't have to worry about the patents. We don't have to worry about anything. We've got a business in a box, and all we have to do is share LifeWave with other people, and we have fun at the same time. So, George, I'm going to hand over to you, and let's just talk about the fun aspect, and then we can bring it back to the serious side of this.
Okay, you missed out something. You missed out what I said to you that actually made you sit up right at the beginning. Some people know it here, some people don't. So I saw Chris on a Zoom call about something else, and I said to him, "You look like Kakapupu," and he's like, "What?" And that's what I mean about having fun. You know, I'm playful with this. If I'd said to him, "Look, Chris, you know, I've got this thing here," he's going, "Yeah, I've heard so much stuff. I'm not interested. I don't even want to hear about it." But being playful with it. You know, some of you know Javi, and some of you don't. But I said to Javi, "There's this guy in South Africa, and he's going to do this with me. He doesn't know he's going to do this with me, but he's going to do this with me." And so by kind of having, we had the kind of a relationship where I could say that to him. So that's an example of kind of having fun. But then, I mean, I'm just going to stick with this for a minute. Then, you know, he said I was persistent, but and I talk about this a lot. One needs to develop one's internal thermostat as to how much we can, how much information we can give to people, and I'm always playing with it. So I knew that I couldn't say to Chris every day something because he wouldn't pay any attention. He was back against the wall. So I sent him something probably every 2, 3, 4 days. And sometimes it would be an audio, sometimes it would be a video, sometimes it was something written. I tend to mix that sort of thing because, you know, sometimes people have time, sometimes they don't. If it's short and sweet, they'll read it. If it's a video, they may or may not look at it, you know. But it's that internal thermostat that told me, send him these things. But I'm also always, you know, and I'll say this again because it's useful. I'm always looking for the echo. I'm not looking to quote unquote close somebody into LifeWave. I'm looking for the echo with them to see where I can show them something, give them something that actually makes them say what Chris said, I want to know more. Because after 3 weeks with one voice note I sent him, that caused the echo in him. And he said, I want to know more. And I said, scroll up because it's all there. So look, when I say have fun, I'm absolutely deadly serious about sharing David's vision of getting these patches into 1 billion homes. Why? Because I've had so many messages from people saying, you can't imagine the joy this has brought to our family, or it's hard for me to be in a bad mood. Every day messages come, and I feel that once we get the patches into 1 billion homes, we're in a world full of bad news. People are kind of skeptical about good news in many cases. Many people are, but with 1 billion homes, with that emotional wave going out into the world, we are really going to be making a change on the world. Any of you who watched the Dallas event or were at Dallas, David said his mother-in-law asked him what he would like for Christmas, and he said, "Well, peace." And this is, in my view, something really key about LifeWave. But having fun, when we speak about LifeWave, we can get very serious. And I have done it and probably been a bit boring as well. And oh God, that guy talking again. So it takes a little bit of time to do this lightly, intensely. Some of you have heard from your head to your heart. Onyx Cole always says, when it gets from your head to your heart, nobody can tell you anything. And if people, I mean, my friend I'm staying with, I love her, but she's still telling me it's a scam. 2.5 years later, she's still telling me it's a scam. She's very happy you've changed your money life, but it's a scam. Okay, I'm not going to go with it. I'm just going to laugh and say, okay, one day maybe you'll see if these patches work for you. So playful, being playful. When one's reaching out to people, there's a marketer I used to follow, and he had a phrase. He said, "Don't always be selling, always be shipping." So I'm always shipping out ideas, whether it's a story, whether it's something very specific. With the people I'm with, I'm always shipping out stuff in a light, playful way. Sometimes it gets to them, sometimes it doesn't. One day, right at the beginning, Chris said we're going to be on lots of stages together. I think that's a lot of fun. Also, I'm sure Chris would say, yes, it's fun when we're sharing stages and inspiring people. I don't go for motivation. I go for inspiring. I want people to come towards me rather than, you can't motivate people because that's pushing and that leaves you exhausted. So I actually want to ask a question here because I don't know everybody here on the call, but if you can put in the chat, I'm going to go and open the chat here. We got 99 people on the call. That's great. Is everybody here clear that or does anybody here have issues about receiving money from LifeWave? Do they find that a little bit strange? Are people here, if you're saying, I'm here, I like the wealth, but not so much the money, let me know in the chat, because I would then say something, which I've said at a few events. So let's see what comes up in the chat here.
I always love what you say about the money side, where you talk about being an expression of what this product is doing for other people. That's the most beautiful thing you've ever said.
Yeah, well, what I say exactly is this: the money that LifeWave sends us is an expression of our success in helping other people, which is something I saw when I saw 1,000 people in my downline, and I saw the money that was landing weekly in my wallet, and I also heard in my mind the stories from those 1,000 people. I didn't know all those 1,000 people, but I said something to myself, which for many people is counterintuitive: go make a fortune, because the more money you're receiving from LifeWave, the more people you're helping. So I'm glad to hear in the chat that it's all super positive, because I've come across positive people. So back to being deadly serious, but having fun. We do as many events as you can, and when you're building a team, do as many fun events. It might be meeting and introducing people from different parts of your downline or from other teams. For example, I did an event we had the incentive trip to Marrakesh, and I did an event 2 days before. Some people, it was 3 nights in my friend's oasis in Marrakesh, and a lot of people from Sandy Feast was there, of Feist, and other people from my downline from South Africa, and some people from England. But I also invited other teams, people from other teams who are not in This Is It, but who I have who I've resonated with. That's the word I would say. Excuse me. Polish teams and Romanian. Some of you know Alexandra. Alexandra, with whom we did an interview. Maybe we should post that again for new people. She was somebody, I love her story. She was somebody who was working on a cruise ship, and she saw somebody wearing the patches. She said, "What's that patch?" The lady got so scared, didn't know what to say, and talked to her upline. Well, Alexandra put money, bought a diamond kit, went to an event to meet David, went to Romania, where there was nobody who'd ever heard of patches, where the average wage is even lower than South Africa. And she's built a 10,000 person team, helping a lot of people with their health and helping a lot of people with their wealth. So I invited her, and I invited other people from other teams, and we had a lot of fun. But within that fun, there was a lot of interaction and sharing of ideas, thoughts, how different teams do it, how people have developed their teams, because there isn't just one way to do this. It's a thing. Excuse me, my throat. I'm doing slight battle with it. Some of you saw in Orlando, in the convention in Orlando 2 years ago. The coach, John Maxwell, he came and he spoke. I'd heard Chris talking about him. I'd never actually seen him or heard him speak. And he came along, and I guess he's 78, 80 years old, something like that. And he said to me, he said to me, to us, to the room, there were 7,000 people in the room. So he said to us, "I've got a big tree to cut down." He said, "But look at me." He says, "I can't be cutting down trees. Look at me." He says, "But I've got a very sharp axe. And what I can do with this axe is go every single day and hit the tree 5 times, and eventually the tree will come down. Not all day, but every day, every day." And the people said to him, "But every day?" "Yes, every day, every day." So that's something to don't wear yourselves out, because then you're going like, this is going to do my head in if I'm wearing myself out. But do this thing every day. I remember a story. And so somebody in my Spanish team, she said, "Oh, I'm getting tired. And I want to," I said, "take 2-3 days off and then come back to it." And when I told Javi about that, he said, "What, 2-3 days? 1 day." But anyways, it's important to keep this every day. We're interacting with a lot of people sometimes, so we do need to pace ourselves. Yeah, but and so if it becomes a little bit, you got a lot of people simultaneously, somebody complaining, somebody just needs help, somebody else, but a lot of things simultaneously. It's important to step back a bit so that you can come back and give people positive energy. Having fun. So organize, groups of people, have walks, meet for dinner, go for a swim if you're by the sea. not only in the formal setting of a presentation and so on, because this having fun. I'm going to ask Sandy to actually unmute. Can you let Sandy unmute? Because I love her to say, and Bridget as well, because, for example, we were all in Dallas and there was like a 2.5 hour break between whatever session we were having, the corporate event and what David was putting on for us. And we basically had a party in my room with 12 people all over the, on the sofas, on the beds, that was really a lot of fun, and that deepens everybody's relationship with each other. So that having fun and that deepening of relationships is what makes this more and more powerful. I'd like both, if you unmute both Sandy and Bridget, and if they can add something to that, that would be great.
Yeah, I made Sandy co-host, and I've made Bridget co-host. So I'll just have to wait for Sandy to come on. But yeah, that you know what, that's all about forming the relationships where we become like a big family. And the amount of people that George, I'm sure he can agree with me on this point. We get a lot of messages from people within the community. And a lot of people give us feedback saying they've never seen such an amazing amount of people that are just so willing to help and there for each other, even although you might not be in the same leg or line or whatever. It's beyond that. It's about being of service to another human being. And it's so beautiful to watch this. And we've created a very strong community of like-minded and like-hearted people because we all think differently. So I like to call, I started our very first convention that we had in South Africa. There were 300 people. And I said, welcome to the gathering of the black sheep. So how many black sheep do we have on the call tonight? I can just about see everybody nodding. So you know what I'm talking about when I say black sheep. We were the ones in the family that was always the different one, right? The difficult one, or the one that thought differently or spoke differently or just didn't fit in to the family, right? We were the ones that were called the different thinkers, maybe the conspiracy theorists, that type of thing. And what I found is about 90% of all the people that are together in this community. I can see everybody say yes, totally, yep. That's why I call it the gathering of the black sheep, because we think different. And if you think about it, what we're busy with right now in our hands is different, guys. This is very different, and some people cannot comprehend it. We get it. We get it. I mean, how many people do we talk to? Like, for example, I met Molina signed up Mark yesterday, right? And I met with Mark today. I was at Mark and his wife. I was at their house today. I went to go and have coffee with them because we were on a Zoom last night, and he just said 2 or 3 words, and I thought, hang on a second, Mark's part of our tribe. We met today, and we just got on like a house, like a house on fire, because we talk the same language, and that's wanting to make a difference. But guys, what we're busy with right now is different. It's different. And some people, that because we're talking about frequency, so you got to tune into the frequency. It's like if you think about the old days of a radio station, and this is what we're talking about when we're communicating with prospects. It's tuning in. Remember the old days, you sort of like tuning into a radio station. It's like going, that was tuning in. So it's exactly the same when we're speaking to people. We've got to tune in to where they are. Otherwise, you can sort of just do that. And because we're talking about frequency, what's going to start to happen is as you start patching, you're raising your frequency. And before you even send your message to somebody, I'm not going to get all woo-woo and funny on the call. I'm talking about scientifically proven fact here, right? because we're talking about manifesting and intent. The amount of times this is going to happen to you that you've got a person maybe written down on your name list or something, or you've got an idea to phone somebody and you send them a message or you send them a voice note. How many times does it happen that the person comes back and go, mental telepathy, I was just thinking about you yesterday. Guys, this will start happening more and more often as you're moving forward, as everything starts to unfold, because people are picking up the frequency beforehand. And the amount of people I've spoken to where, I mean, guys, in my 2 years and a bit, I've spoken to 400, maybe 500 people. Did everybody say yes to me? No, 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 no. Out of those 500 people, I've signed up 66 people. That's how many people have joined me personally on this journey in the last 26 months. And you're thinking, 66 people, oh my heck, that's a lot of people. Guys, take that figure and divide it by 26 months. It's 2.5 people a month. Not that I sign up half a person in a month, but 2.5. So I'll like sign up maybe 2 or 3 people, 4 people. I'll work with them. And it works like a shongololo. Guys, the business works like a shongololo. It moves forward and back, forward and back. That's where the business works. And then you're busy with your people.
And so that I was going to actually say, Chris always talks about shongololo, which is a millipede in English and a mil pies in Spanish. So what will happen? I might see somebody in the organization or in the groups showing a sign of life, and I'll reach out to them, even though I don't know them. So one is you're not going to vibe with everybody. Some people will vibe better with other people. So then when I see somebody who's very active and I maybe reach out to them and then we start working, that helps their upline. So we're kind of leapfrogging, let's say, with each other. But I still want to, I know we've probably only got an hour of the call. I still want to hear from Sandy. Is Sandy alive and present or not? If
George,
not, Bridget.
Sandy just asked if she can be excused. Eric got back.
Okay.
He had a hip operation today. So she's
Oh dear.
busy helping Eric. He got back from surgery today.
So then let's ask Bridget to talk about that fun bit. And then I saw Aloma was on the call as well. And I'd love Aloma to also to say something on this fun bit. Hi, guys. So if you would, Bridget, you're up, please, on the fun side.
Yes. Hi, George. Hi, Chris. Yes, as you say, the fun side. And I know some of the things that I've done in the past was like getting a bunch of girls to my house and we have a tea party and we have to wear hats and we just have a fun afternoon and we chat, and it's just some way to get them together and not just be in the meeting Zoom room all the time. So that's one of the things that I've done in the past.
And how did you find, when we all met in Dallas and de-virtualized, which is a word I used a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So any sort of thoughts besides to everybody get to as many meetings as you can, whether they're in your neighborhood with 3 people or a bigger meeting in South Africa or an international meeting. Hopefully we're going to have a big corporate one happening in June. It's kind of 80% or 85% sorted, but talk about that as well, please.
Well, George, there's nothing like the person being live and in front of you. It's very different to just talking over a Zoom. You've got that energy that's there, which isn't really there, if I can call it that, when you are on a Zoom meeting. And there's just something that makes the relationship better or closer because you just feel like you're in their space, and not everybody likes to be in your space. So if they're willing to sit right in front of you and be with you, then you have to be comfortable with each other for that to happen, of course. But again, in Dallas, I mean, just to be in your room and all the people that were there, and we were having this fun evening, which is not something you would do every day, but we had the opportunity and we made the most of it. So, when we've got an opportunity.
It felt like it. It felt like a hippie party in my bedroom. I thought the hotel
In your
might say
room.
something like, how come you got 12 people in your bedroom?
Yeah, his roommate came in and she just stopped in the doorway and went, what's going on here?
Yeah, it was funny. Anyways, thank you. So with you, you quite clearly, this has gone from your head to your heart over the period that I've known you, which was, I don't remember exactly, but probably about 18 months, 20 months, something like that. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? How that helps you with being dead serious about getting these patches out to as many people as possible?
Absolutely. You know, I've been with LifeWave, it'll be 2 years next month. And like we said, I like that word, social responsibility, to talk to every single person on this planet, because we don't know what's going on in people's lives. And somebody, when I phoned him in December, I haven't spoken to this man probably I was in the optical industry and I've been out of that, I don't know, 10, 12 years. But I still had his number on my phone. And something that morning said to me, I've got to phone him. And when I phoned him and I told him what I'm doing, he said to me, you're an angel that's been sent from heaven, because his wife's got cancer. And we've been communicating since he came on board, in terms of, yes, he bought patches for her and we're having communication going there. So, you know, the point being that I don't know what everybody's dealing with in their life, whether it's going to be a physical ailment, it could be that mental, emotional problem that they're dealing with. And yes, it could be a financial thing. And we in LifeWave, we know we've got the solution to all of that. So in those words that we use, it's criminal not to talk to everybody.
So you said something really key there. You know, I always say, I'm not very good at lists. I can make a list, but I'll never get to the bottom of it. Yeah. But I'm very good at paying attention to what comes to my mind in the morning in between sleep and getting up, which is what you did. Basically, this gentleman came to your mind and you said, I'm not going to ignore that message that you receive, your subconscious sent you, or unconscious. I'm not that good on all that stuff, but you paid attention to it and you called him. The other day, I'm on go to as many events that you can, not LifeWave events, whether it's a sport event or a social event. Just get yourselves out and about. That's really, really important, because you meet people completely. I say that just in passing. I've just been 1 week on a network, on a marketers cruise event where people go to network. I know we were on a ship, didn't really see the ship because we were just everybody, 450 people from all over the world connecting. So there's a guy, he's giving a 2-minute talk and his microphone went. So I said, proyectar. He was a Spanish guy. And he said, George, and he's a guy that we'd met in the event in London like 14 years ago. And we're connected on Facebook. But so I gave him 3 patches. And he's like, the next day, he said, I don't believe this. I've been using a Ventolin spray for months on end. And I'm usually finished by 10 o'clock at night. I don't need the Ventolin spray. Hasn't used it since. And he's like, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Because I also said to him, I'm getting the sense that you've had a hard time in the last few years with your business. He had, when I met him, he was single. Now he's with a wife and a small boy of about 4 or 5 years old. And he said, yeah, we had a partner who stole all the money. You know, I said, well, let's get you to be successful again. When he saw what he did with him, the Ventolin, he's like talking to people all over the ship, and now we have a whole list of people to talk to him. So, and he keeps saying thank you to me, and that's, I'm not looking for thank yous, but we always say this, and this came from Javi. We're offering 4 things here. Better health and well-being, better emotional health. I've talked about that before. Better spiritual health. And my first reaction to this was, no, I'm not interested. I'm not going to do network marketing again. Not interested in stem cells. The whole thing sounds barbaric until I understood it was frequency. And better financial health. Not everybody wants all four. Some people want one more than the other. However, it's that's fine too. I have a lady who, I've had this from a couple of people, who's saying, one person said to me, I don't know about all those heavy network marketers doing the patches, because some of them are just interested in the money. But then she said she realized that the patches need to be everywhere. And I've said since the beginning, these patches will be everywhere. I can certainly notice from a year ago on that marketers cruise, many more people were wearing the patches than a year ago. So I did actually ask at one moment, and we're going to be talking about this in a week or two, what I said, a year ago, my organization's multiplied by 5 since a year ago. What do people here suggest that I do to help people in my downline to everybody multiply their organization by 5? And a woman came up, she gave me some ideas, but this was like a third-party validation testimony which I hadn't asked for, saying, no, my husband's life, she said, she started those patches amazing. It's changed my husband's life. He's not as he was, and I'm much better than I was, and then gave me some ideas. So, it's the patches are going to be everywhere, and on from our side, we have, yes, social responsibility, as Paolo and Liliana said in Dallas, but we have this massive opportunity. And one of the things I said to Chris is, as we watch it unfolding in our lives, and the money allows us to live, get rid of, first of all, our financial anxieties, and second of all, then become very creative and help other people. I find that I'm able to give donations to things, which in the past I wouldn't have been able to do. I wasn't financially in the position to do the kind of donations I've been able to do, and that's a bit of an eye opener to me. I mean, it's like something that, one donation, another donation, and I'm going, wow, this is really fortunate to be able to do that.
I'd like to stop you there and quickly ask Marlena to unmute. I'm putting Marlena on the spot, and there's reason for this, because it goes, this is like so unplanned, guys. This is like what you call divine intervention, what George was talking about. And I heard what Marlena said last night. Marlena's been part of Lifeway for just under 2 years now. Marlena's got an amazing journey. Lifeway has completely changed Marlena's life, with her health and with her money life as well. And Marlena, you get paid every week. I mean, how cool is that compared to, you were a school teacher for many years, and here you are getting paid weekly. And just tell everybody what you do the moment the money comes into your account. That touched my heart yesterday when you shared it.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. The moment the money comes, the moment I see it come through on my phone, I will immediately get up, go to my computer, because that's where I do my banking, and I will immediately pay over 10% of whatever I got, to the point that if it's like 3,053.50 or something, I'll just round it off and send it. I actually assist 2 very big companies, if I say companies, NPOs, who do actually wonderful work. The one is for farmers in the drought-stricken area in the Northern Cape, where they absolutely have nothing to eat, even the farmers, let alone the cattle and the sheep. And I know the person is a very honest man. He doesn't misuse, the money. And then another place where they actually take old people from the street and give them accommodation. And then I met two families, wonderful families. I don't really have a very good family myself. Some problems there, but I met these two families, and they have become my family. And I help them put food on the table every month. And it's such a wonderful feeling, the gratitude I get from them, the love I get from them. It's indescribable, actually.
But you don't do it for the love or the gratitude. You're doing it because you can.
And I want to. I love doing it. Yes, and I could never do that before. I mean, I hardly had anything for myself. And just on a point, to clarify a point there, I left teaching in 97 already because I just felt, no, it's not for me. And then I did various other things in my life.
So look, Marlena just said something very interesting. She gave a number to around 2,500. So Marlena's been with LifeWave going on for 2 years. I'm not sure exactly. However,
yeah,
for Marlena, it was very, very different, and we did have a couple of not so fun interactions. However, she just gave a number, 2,500 more or less. So if we multiply that by 52, that comes to a pretty, in South Africa, an astounding amount of money. But look at it like this, because Chris talked about investor. If you were an investor, to get that kind of money, you would have had to have a capital of around $2.5 million to be able to make that kind of money as an investor. So when we're building our LifeWave organization, we're building a capital in a way that's different to the people who work in the financial market. It's actually a much more powerful capital, and it's also, just some of you know, some of you don't know maybe, but your account is inheritable. So, you know, the work you're doing now can become generational wealth further down the line. And when David, some of you know, some of you don't, but David's here for he's thinking 5, 10, 20 years out, and he's got more inventions coming. So this is super exciting. Just very briefly, before we go to ask Aloma to speak, don't forget and tell people, anybody in London, about the event in London. We've also got an event in Madrid on the 15th May. Some of you may have Spanish connections. A one-day event in Madrid on the 15th of February. So really think who you know in those countries. One of the things I recommend to people, or two, I'm going to get two of them, is go and look at the list of countries where we are in LifeWave. Look through it, say it out loud, name that country, and see who comes to your mind. Number one. And number two, scroll back through your Messenger or through your WhatsApp like 10 years, and you will see people who you should be talking to. Anyways, that's by perhaps Aloma, because Aloma we've met in Tampa, in Orlando, in Dallas, and I'm not sure if it's somewhere else, but I'd love to hear, and Ashley and the whole family's there. Can you unmute and tell us a little bit from the fun side of being deadly serious about what we're doing here, but also the fun side?
Definitely, I'm going to unmute them now, but I just wanted to quickly tag on what you were saying. Guys, what you do is you water the grass where you are. Water the grass where you are in your own garden. What does that mean? That means build local. Build local first, but think global. Build local, think global. Because yes, you got to work where you live, the country where you live, right? but always remember we're in 87 countries around the world. And I remember when I used to start the Zoom calls, I used to always just say, good evening, everybody, because it was basically 99.9% South African people on the call. And as time went by, people from all over the world joining this community, we now have to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, because people are dialing in at all different time frames. And here we've got Aloma and Ashley and Joe from Florida, which we met a year and a half ago, part of our family. And yeah, I'm going to unmute you guys, and also like as George was saying, talk about the fun we had when we met in Dallas. How you doing, guys?
Oh, it's so
Excellent.
nice to see everyone. Well, let me just start off by saying, when I met Sandy, I met Bridget, I have already met George and Chris in Tampa. So, and then, we met, there's a few other people that I didn't quite know, that there was a big showing of people from South Africa that showed up to Dallas. And when we got together in George's room, I felt like, oh my God, we all huddled up in the bed, laughing, having a little sip of vino a little bit. I can't say what we were laughing about, what Chris was saying. That's you had to be there, right? But it felt like home, like you guys are my upline, and obviously Javi, come back to America, but it meant there's the world. I took it all in, that how special it was to really have fun and get to just huddle around like that and be in the room and really get to know a bunch of you guys. And that is the part about being fun, and just being at the event. Holy moly. I mean, I guess we've been so mesmerized by just every time we go from event to event and just being together. It touched my heart.
So let me ask you a question. When you're reaching out to people, that heart that was touched, as you're reaching out to new people, you're transmitting all of that, yes?
Yes, 100%. I'm going to admit that, last few months, it's been a snag. It's been, it's like taking the time and really stepping back, because, the no's overpower the yeses, and it's hard, right? All of us go through this. I mean, I felt like, I'm not going to cry. I felt like, holy moly, and there are times you have to take the time to just refocus, reset yourself, and I am not going to stop. I'm going to continue to move forward, because we have to, and nobody with their nose is going to stop me, because I'm just going to go to the next, till I find them. Okay. This past weekend, we went to a pickleball tournament. Oh my gosh, it was unbelievable. I'm on them. There's things happening. All these pickleball people, good Lord, they all need some patches. They all need it.
As Javi says, they're broken old people.
So yeah.
But again, in the words of Javi, we took the advice, just one more day, because you keep pushing one more day, and that one more day, maybe that person that says yes, and all of a sudden that helps your business explode. But fun. What a lot don't know about me is I am a certified sommelier in the wine world. So we try to do things with wine events. We were at a wine and cheese sampling last night here in our community. And, you bring your own wine, they provide cheese and other things like that to nibble. But, you meet people and you talk with people. And of course, you know who was working a room real well last night.
I was giving my cards out. Call me, text me, we can hang out. My card has the business, and there you go.
So we like to do fun, but then back to George's story. I mean, it was great to meet the people that we see on the South Africa Zooms. I mean, we know we're almost a world apart, but it was great to meet them, socialize. We all got to know each other a little better. And, like Bridget mentioned, Yvette walks in and she's like, oh, George is having a party. You didn't invite me. And so we got to meet her, really lovely person from Mexico. And just like we always hear, yes, this is a business, but we're a family and we're a community, and we always support each other. We always work with each other. And I know we're far away, but as I said on the other call the other day, we're going to be on that stage at the next convention in South Africa, telling our story as SPDs.
As you do.
I love it. Thank you.
Come in. Let's hear it from Ashley. Come on.
Let's hear it from right here.
Yes, Ashley. So I'm going to just give a little bit of context here. they brought her to the first event in Tampa, and she was like, I think she was like, what is this? A little bit. She looked like she was like, oh my God, where have my parents brought me?
Then when we were going in the car, when we left Tampa, she said, what do you say, Ashley?
Okay, I'll do this.
I'm in. She said she was in.
Where do I sign up?
So what would you like to add?
I definitely think that being in that room in Dallas or having small environments like that, when you can get together with a few people, whether they're directly under you or not, definitely does kind of make it worth it at the end of the day, because when you build this business with people who aren't in your same city or state or even country, then it can probably feel lonely sometimes. So then whenever you guys connect at events globally or for team events and you get to connect with a close-knit room of people, then it definitely kind of helps balance out that, okay, this isn't a big deal anymore. I don't need to have people in my city who do this. At least I have this global team of people. So it kind of definitely brings you back and kind of resonates with you and makes you feel like, okay, this is all worth it. This is going to be okay.
Thank you.
Superstar Ashley. So nice to see you.
I want to add,
guys, can't wait to see you. Can't wait to see you in okay, George, you can just cough a bit, drink some water, and then I'll quickly talk. Guys, George, he used to cough very, very badly. He would battle to get through a Zoom call in the beginning days. I'm talking about coughing like every 5 minutes. So just look at what the product has done for George, how his health has improved from a coughing point of view. People have noticed that. So glad I could quickly just step
I
in
mean,
there.
now I'm coughing because I have a sore throat, but before it would be like a 5-minute cough and I'd have to disappear.
You have to like
be
jump.
time.
Yeah.
Like a reverse Jack in the Box. But look, Chris said Bill start locally, and I'm all for that. But I live on a mountain on an island in the sea, so my local is global. If your local is global, don't be afraid to go global. So I really built my organization, began to build it with people all around the world. But everybody has a different situation. Because I live on a mountain on an island in the sea, local is a little bit hard. And because it's a small place and there were other people with the patches in that small place, I said I don't really want to build locally, because I don't want to let people do what they're doing. I do have people on the island where I live now, but that happened naturally. So, I just wanted to add that.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you touched on that, because what I'd like to finish off with the call tonight is we're going into a new year. We're going into 2025, and I want to ask everybody on this call, how was 2024 for you? How was 2024?
Incredible.
Incredible for a lot, and maybe difficult for a lot as well. Maybe difficult for a lot. People are still trying to find their feet and get going. And if you have a look at globally, how did you do last year in the way of, did you buy any properties? Did you make any investments? How much money did you have in your bank at the end of 2024? And I mean, don't message me. Don't tell me that's personal. You think in your own mind. You worked the whole of last year, okay? So whatever it is, your own business, your job, where you work for a boss. So you worked for a whole 12 months. At the end of it, what did you have to show for it? Did you have like a nice wad of cash? Were you able to buy a property, buy a new car? Were you able to do something? Or were you maybe not? Were you maybe not able to? Now, what I want you to think of is we've just gone into a new year, and that's why I'm touching on it now. That's why I'm glad we in January having this call, because this is when people take stock and think about, where have I been, where am I, and where am I going with my life? Have you done the same thing for the last 20 years? So you've only done one thing, but you've done it 20 years in a row. You've only really done one thing. And if you're in the same place, if you have a look at the end of the year and you're not really where you want to be, if you go into 2025 doing the same thing, do you realize that at the end of this year, you will have achieved the same as what you achieved at the end of 2024? And you need to do things differently. I love this saying by Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein said, doing the same thing day in and day out and expecting a different result is the heart of insanity. Did you know that? So if you keep doing exactly the same thing, you're not happy with what you're achieving, that means that you need to do something different. And what's so beautiful is it's a little bit of a tweak. It's not a dramatic change, as Harvey talks about. It's a couple of degrees. That's all you've got to do is make a little bit of change, a little bit of change, adjustments. So going into the new year, my challenge for everybody would be kind of a little bit going back to basics, because at the end of the day, what is the most important aspect of this business? What is the most important aspect? It begins with a P. It begins with a P. People. You can't do anything in this world without people. So human beings are the most important thing, because we need to communicate to other people. Just because you join LifeWave doesn't mean that a little beacon has just gone on. And all of a sudden, this is flashing out to the world and everybody knows that you're now doing LifeWave. And now you're going, well, I've joined LifeWave. People should know this. Contact me now. It's not going to happen. We've got to take that first step on how we communicate to people, right? So I challenge everybody before the end of the month, or I'd say before the end of the day, actually, make a name list. I know this sounds like really, oh, Chris, name list, please. Get a pen and paper out and just jot down a couple of names. And like, George and I were spoken about it. You don't need to make it so like formal and write everything down. Notice things around you. Go with the flow. Go with the flow when you're making this name list. Think if someone pops into your head, have a look on Facebook, Instagram, take your phone out, have a look. If the name resonates with you, if you get a nice, warm and fuzzy feeling, write the person's name down. But what you must do, write 100 just to start. You can have such a sense of accomplishment once you do it. And then I'm not going to go into the training. You guys can watch the training that Wilson and I did, where we talk about this recipe of what to send, how to send, that type of thing, and sending voice notes. But let me tell you, once you've written it down, it's just going to give you a bit of a feeling of accomplishment, and it's going to give you a sense of power. And what's going to happen is, trust me, you just put a bit of thought into the person's name, but I don't know what it is. The moment you use this little thing called a pen, this is like a magic wand. You write the person's name down. Yep, there's Ray. You write the person's name down, and you are manifesting what it is that you want to achieve. And trust me, you just leave it written for a couple of days. And because you wrote it with your hand, an energy goes out. Because I just want to finish off with what I was just talking about earlier on about frequency and energy. You're putting it out there, right? About frequency. And what's going to happen is people are going to say, I was just thinking about you when you sent the message. And guys, people are praying for what we have in our hands right now. Don't deny people of what they're potentially praying for, because what we have in our hands right now can potentially save people's lives. And just be aware of your surroundings. Before I hand over to George, I'm just going to finish off with one little story and then we can wrap up. We are saying just now that I've signed up 66 people, but I spoke to probably, 400 people. Did you know that 4 of those people that I signed up, 4 out of the 66 people, do you know how I approached them? It was their birthday. And you get the notification on Facebook. And all I did was send them a message. And I said, happy birthday. I hope you have an awesome day. That's all I did. I didn't talk about LifeWave. I didn't talk about patches. Let's go back to being human, guys. Connect with people first. That is the most important part. All I said was happy birthday. And they're like, wow, Chris, thank you so much. Been seeing some stuff on Facebook. What are you up to? And then you start the conversation there. As George says, you got 50 dates going at the same time, or 50 dances.
Yeah, it's like
Exactly.
running 50 dates simultaneously.
Exactly.
If you're
And
single, you'll know about that.
Start off with hello, guys. Do you know how many people send messages to people and they sort of are, you use the word spam them? You haven't spoken to a person in, I don't know, 6 months, 9 months, maybe a year. You get involved in LifeWave, you get excited, and you just send information. Oh, there's patches, and look at this clip, and watch this and watch that. People miss the most important part that I want everybody to maybe write down or just take from tonight. Remember to say hello first, and remember to ask how they are doing. You know why? Because you've been sincere. And if you ask a person, how are you? What have you been up to? How's work? How's your family? Do you know what's going to happen? They're going to ask you, thank you. How are you doing? How are things happening in your life? What have you been up to? Because once they ask you, what have you been up to? You can now share with them what you're doing, but they gave you permission first, which means it doesn't come across as if you've spammed them. So always just keep that one in mind. And I don't know if you guys saw, there was a person I added in the group. I was trying to take a bit of a holiday break during December to try and unplug a little bit, but I just can't help myself working, okay? And I was on Facebook, and on Christmas Eve, saw a person, and I haven't seen a post from this person on Facebook for guys probably 4 years. And out of the blue, I see a post of this guy. His name's Paul. And it was Christmas Eve. And Paul sent a message on Facebook. And he said, happy Christmas, everybody. I hope you all have a beautiful Christmas day. I'm not in a happy place right now. I've been in agony, in pain for the last 2 years. On Christmas Eve, 2 years ago, and he was quite hectic. He said a beep, 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 drunken driver, beep, 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 crashed into me while I was on my motorbike and crashed into his legs, put him in intensive care, in hospital. The man was on his back in hospital for 6 months. He nearly passed away. He nearly died. And he was sharing this in his first Facebook page. And he said, that bastard that rode into me. And you know what? I'll say it, this bastard drove into him and drove away. They never caught the guy. And they put this man in hospital for 6 months. He nearly died a few times in hospital. You can see how thin he got, the festering and oh, my goodness gracious. The man's been on morphine. The man has been in constant pain for 2 years, and he reached out and he just said, I hope you have a better Christmas than me. Well, I'm going to have a shitty Christmas. Don't mean it in a bad way, but I hope you all have a good Christmas. I reached out to him, guys. That message touched my heart. I reached out and I said, hey, Paul, we probably, I can't remember last time we spoke. We haven't spoken in maybe, I don't know, 4 years, 5 years. I saw your message and I'm so sorry about what you went through. Paul, I've got something that I think will help you. An hour and a half, 2 hours later, Paul replied back, Chris, wow, I haven't spoken to you in like over 5 years. I didn't even know you're still alive. What are you up to? You told me you got something that can help me. What is this all about? Guys, you know what I did? I sent him, this is at info.com, and I sent him Warren Mayers. We all know Warren Mayers, climbing mountains now. I sent him Warren Mayers' testimony. I sent it to him on Christmas Eve. I didn't hear from Paul. I thought he was going to reply back in an hour or two. He didn't reply back on Christmas. He didn't reply back on Boxing Day, nor the day after. But when I sent it out, I had no expectation on the outcome, other than one human being wanting to help another human being. He came back to me 4 days later, and he said, Chris, I've just watched this clip of Warren. I've been on the website. If this product does what this product looks like it does, I need to find out from you is there a business attached to this? I replied back to him and I said, funny you should ask, Paul. There is a business attached to it as well. He said, how do I get involved? Paul is part of our LifeWave journey. And all it was just being aware of your surroundings. And I saw a person in pain on Facebook. I didn't spam him. I just said to him, I'm so sorry to hear what you've been through. I've got something that can help you. Would you be open to have a look? That's all we did. And that's what we're talking about, guys. Just being aware of everything around you and looking out for the signs, as George talks about, because watch out for the signs because you're getting guided. You're getting divinely guided on who to speak to and when to speak to. If I see a truck driving past and it said George's furniture removals, I get home and I'm looking for every George on the phone. I see that as a sign and I message every George I can find, something like that. And that's how we roll. George and I have laughed about this. This is the fun side, guys. This is the fun side that George is talking about. Roll with it and have fun and look out for the signs because you are being guided, and have fun with it and just be there to help another human being. So just before we close off, let me just hand over to George to say a couple of words, and I think let's close off.
Okay, so thank you, Chris. One of the things I say, and some of you heard me say it, is be kind, help everybody, and sometimes give a kick. So I do give kicks. They're rather gentle, but they're very focused. I'll give an example. There was somebody in my Spanish team who 10 months in, I said to her, look, and she wasn't listening and she wasn't learning. I said, 10 months, you invited 42 people that became 115. When I was 10 months in, I'd invited 32 people that became 1,850. Maybe there's something you can learn from me. It's a kick. And that kind of made her sit up. So we are dealing with people, which is great, but it's also a difficulty. So we have to learn how to give those kind of kicks when they're necessary, not overdoing it. Then another thing, enjoy the no's. Enjoy the no's. I've had some no's which I've sent to Chris, which you just and we unbelievable.
We compare notes.
Unbelievable responses. One of my friends, he loves me. I mean, but the most violent response, written response that you could imagine. I'm not going to use something made in a bucket, a slurry made in a bucket, and to stick it to my skin. And, like, wow, where did this come from? Enjoy them. Really, we have something so special in a world which is full of a lot of desperate situations. We are really bringing light to the world. And for me, this is a mission, an obligation, and, count on me to help whenever I can. I guess that's the end of what I'm going to say.
Thank you, George. And thank you for everything you do for us and our community. We love you to bits. And I love what you just finished there. Let's compare and have fun with the notes, guys. Have fun. We can compare notes. I like what Lucinda said. Rejection is protection. Rejection is protection. Okay, I'll tell you in finishing off, one of my rejections I got. This is the fun part of it, sharing it. So a guy that I've known for about 14, 15 years, he's a chiropractor in Johannesburg. And I reached out to him on Facebook and we were chatting back and forth. And so anyway, I went to go see him. We had a cup of coffee. This was about, how long? About 9 months ago. And I went to go and have coffee with him. And he had lower back pain and he had a pain in his leg and then he fell and his elbow. He was like I couldn't believe it. He's about in his early 60s and he had pain all over. And my fault a little bit. I only gave him 3 patches. That's all I had with me. I had, 3 or 4 X39, and that's all I gave him. And he's a chiropractor. And I said to him, listen, you've got to have realistic expectations here, Dave. We don't know what's going to happen there because there's so much going on in your body right now. you know, if I had more patches, I'd probably leave you a bit more. But he wasn't willing to pay for them. And I thought, you know what, there's got to be an energy exchange as well. So anyway, long story short, I gave him 3 patches. That was like on the Tuesday. Then it was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I left it. Didn't hear back from Dave. That was about the week later, midweek, about Wednesday, Thursday. So I sent what do you call it, Dave, a message, and I said to him, you know, how's it going with the patching? Do you want to maybe get some more? Let's talk about it. And he replies back, no, this has done absolutely nothing for me. Well, have you been drinking lots of water? I don't like water. Oh, okay. So I can see where this is sort of going, right? So he wasn't just he wasn't listening to the advice I was giving. I was talking about electrolytes. I don't need electrolytes. But the patches didn't work. So I sent him a voice note and I said, Dave, you are an alien. Oh my goodness gracious. How can you put a patch on you didn't feel anything at all? So I called him an alien. But guys, people that know me, people that know me for a while, I always talk to people like alien jokes. I mean, my arm. There we go. See my arm? That's my friendly little alien. Okay. So I'm just visiting this planet, all right? I'm the friendly alien. And so that's how people know me. We'd talk about alien jokes. So I called him an alien as like a joke. And like about a week later, I messaged him. I said, Dave, I haven't heard from you. I sent a voice note to you. The voice note he sent me back, guys, he looked. Who the F do you think you are calling me an alien? Do you think I'm not from this planet? Am I not human enough for you? I was like, holy moly, guys, that's the last time I'm ever calling anybody an alien. So yeah, be careful what you say. That was a rejection of note. But you know what? I can laugh about it. I can laugh about it. And don't worry, I'm still going to send Dave a message again. In the next month or 2, he's getting another message from me because that just means not right now. He was probably having a bad day. That's all. So, guys, thank you so much for taking the time out. It was absolutely amazing seeing you all. George, thank you for being on the call. So nice sharing the space with you again. Can't wait to see you in 3-4 weeks' time. So,
in
guys,
UK. Yes.
Have an awesome week,
Like
guys.
31
And see you on
days,
Saturday.
I think.
See you all on Saturday night.
Yes.
Get the popcorn
Don't miss
ready.
it.
Popcorn,
Don't miss it.
chocolates, chips. Get ready, guys. Popcorn, 7 o'clock. South African time, 7 o'clock till 11 o'clock on Saturday night. Lifeway Vision, where David Schmidt, Meredith Burkage, all the corporate team, they're going to be talking about where Lifeway has been, where we're going, and everything for the future. So see you guys on Saturday night. Have an awesome evening. Love you all. See you all then. Night, guys.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Bye-bye. Bye.